If storytelling's so great, why do most company job descriptions just fall flat? Trust me, this tip works. We love epic stories. In Lord of the Rings, you follow Frodo's quest to destroy the ring against the evils of Mordor. You see the ultimate battle of good, evil, and the story of redemption in the Bible. In The Matrix, you see Neo dodging bullets and the ultimate question of the blue pill or the red pill. These stories are epic because they go beyond entertainment. They go to something bigger in the narrative of life that draws us in. And I believe in the world of recruiting, we need better storytellers. For the candidate, it's the difference between an interesting job and an epic opportunity. For the companies, it's the difference between a pretty good candidate and a must-have hire. You want both sides leaning forward in their seats, so excited about the next step. As recruiters, your job is like a director managing the scenes of the action. Master the art of storytelling, and you will stand out from the pack. You see, epic stories really are composed of three components: the hero, the quest, and the villain. So with the hero, typically this person has special skills or abilities that set them apart from others. It could be superpowers like Superman, or crazy smarts like Sherlock Holmes, or maybe a learned skill like Luke Skywalker and his lightsaber. Heroes also have values we respect, like courage, family, determination, generosity, humor. Heroes also, though, have character flaws. That's why they're authentic, they're likable to us, we connect with them. And heroes also can't do the quest alone. They need to recruit other companions together with a mix of skills and abilities to accomplish what they have to do, like the Avengers. You are recruiting heroes. In fact, every person in every role that you recruit is a hero, from the CEO to the front desk admin, from the sales rep to a CFO. Each role plays a hero in your organization, so you are not recruiting butts and seats. You are recruiting heroes. The second part of epic stories is the quest. Now, a hero, just watching TV is not that exciting, right? You need to set the hero in a grand setting, a long, difficult journey of significance. And there's going to be setbacks. In fact, it may even seem impossible at times, but our hero stands the ground and goes in when others are rushing away and goes forward step by step. As recruiters, the quest is something you need to integrate into your stories about your pitch for the roles, more than just, hey, we make a quality product at a competitive price. Set your company into an epic battle of significance that they get a chance to play a role in. There's a mission-driven company that's more than just the CEO's personality or making more profits. The third component of epic stories is the villain. And now, why do we need an arch nemesis? Because if you didn't have a villain, you would just have a bunch of inspired heroes walking across a grassy field on a sunny day to certain victory. That's not very exciting. The villain is needed to add drama and danger and uncertainty to the quest. As recruiters, the villain could be a competitor you want to take out. The villain could be maybe a pain you're taking away from a customer. Or it could just be the old way of doing things. But find a villain that is trying to stop you on a quest to add drama. in your descriptions, try to integrate those three things together. Now, if storytelling is still great, why do most company job descriptions just fall flat? I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of job descriptions with a mix of companies, small, large, startup, public, nonprofit, and I end up rewriting 90% of them. And I believe that's because of one of three story fails. Fail number one is what I call culture cool. In culture cool descriptions, you're trying to attract young talent, so you come across as hip and using buzzwords and lots of people playing ping pong at the office. It comes across as, hey, we're culture cool and a fun place to work, but you have no idea what the job is even about. Interested? The second story fail is kitchen sink. And kitchen sink reads like a legal contract where it lists every possible activity this job could do, like attend team meetings as requested, update manager on status. I mean, come on, really? I mean, to the reader, that comes across as, here are 25 soul-sucking tasks that you can do. You don't even know why. Interested? The third story fail is what I call cut and paste. Now, in cut and paste descriptions, those are recycled job descriptions of old jobs and roles and old missions. That comes across to the reader, the candidate, as, hey, here's a Franken description. It's got like old pieces of dead jobs we put together into one, and we're asking you to like change your job, change your life for us, but we don't have time to tell you what the job really is. Interested? In my experience, when I've just taken that extra hour to make a great job description, it ends up saving 20 to 40 hours of my time, the interview team's time, because candidates engage better, hiring managers engage better, there's a much stronger connection. And so, part of group therapy here, I want you to raise your hand with me. If any of you have committed any of these three story fails, so it's a group, right? And keep your hands up, and while your hands are up, I want you to commit that we can do better. Now, since you're having a recruiting party here, I brought a six-pack to share. So tip number one, in honor of Monty Python, what is your quest? On descriptions, really hook the reader first on your quest, and then talk about the role details. So many descriptions just dive right into, and the job does this, without even knowing why the job exists or what you're doing as a company. And also, think about like what your best possible pitch would be in person. You're sitting across from someone, like what's the best pitch you would give? Write that down in the description. Use human words like you would with a person, and not like you're speaking on an audience. Also, think about the common questions a candidate would ask about the job or the role. Put those in the job description. It shows respect for the candidate, and also it saves you time because you have to answer less questions when you're on the phone. The second tip I have for you is find a way for that role to be the hero. And you do that by focusing on outcomes versus activities. Here's what I mean. Most descriptions, like I said, are full of HR-approved activity lists, and you're not really sure why you're doing them. Instead, talk to the hiring manager and say, what are the top 3 outcomes that you want in this job in year 1 that would make you really excited? And you'll be amazed at what you hear next isn't anywhere in the job description. But that's the job. That is how that role can be a hero. Write that down and put it in there. Delivering more recruiting wow. Because maybe some of you sitting here are now kind of inspired to tell better stories, but I realize we're not all Mad Men creative. You don't need to create all the great stories, but you're responsible for having them as a recruiter. Go talk to someone in sales or marketing. Buy them a coffee or beer. They'd be happy to chat with you about stories, customer examples, and things that can just add extra spice to your job descriptions. And also, consider using video, because video engages people a lot more. You can put in the descriptions. A little hyperlink video is amazing engagement. A story from the hiring manager has a huge return on investment, I found. A candidate calls me and says, wow, I watched the CEO's video, and the way he described the company and the role, I want to work for that person. you know how much time that just saved me? The person already wants to work for the person, and they haven't even talked to him yet. Consider storyboarding the candidate experience. When they arrive in the lobby, have a flow of where they go to the interview room, where they walk past a wall, and on this part talks about the company founding, and there's some stories around that. And then they go over here and they have customer examples. You tell stories about how you make customers' lives better. And then you go over here and you talk about values and what makes you great. It helps set up your recruiting team to tell better stories when people arrive that are consistent. Now, my next 3 tips, I'm going to shift gears a bit, and I'm going to talk about how to coach the candidates to tell better stories. So my 4th tip is resume first impressions matter. The number 1 resume tip I coach my candidates on is what I call the top third rule. And the top third rule is this. If you took a resume and took a pair of scissors out and you cut it, it's only the top third showing, and you would go over to the hiring manager and give it to them, they should look at that and know what you want to do and be inspired to call you in for an interview on that alone. Why? Because recruiters and hiring managers, on average, spend a total of 6 seconds. 6 seconds before making a decision. 6 seconds. So you need to make the top part like your elevator pitch that grabs and is customized toward the job. My 5th tip is that you should coach people for the top 2 interview questions they're always going to get. Always. And typically early in the interview. The first one is, what are you looking for? And come on, how many rambling answers do you get? So I coach my candidates to focus on 5 tangible bullet point answers that track to the job. So instead, when they get asked, what are you looking for? They say, well, I'm looking for 5 things. First, okay. Don't you already love them? That response? They haven't even said anything yet. And for me, I'm leaning forward, I got my pen out, I'm so excited, I got number 1 written, and subconsciously I'm thinking, wow, this person actually knows what they're looking for. How refreshing. Wow, they actually could organize their thoughts into 5 points. We like that at our company. So trust me, this tip works. And the second question they always get asked to prep them for is, why are you interested in us? And I prep them to do their homework, have specific reasons why they're inspired for the job. And because I found over the years, when you have 4 or 5 people interviewing and they're equally qualified, the one who gets the job is the one who came across with doing the most research and the most excited. And so I just prep them on that. You got to lean forward and say you want the job. And my 6th and final tip for you today is facts tell, but stories sell. And so tell my candidates, don't just have a bunch of facts you're reciting to them. Think of short case study stories that are like 3 to 4 sentences long that describe the problem, what they did in that to solve the problem, and the results. Have those quick stories ready for the top 3 outcomes the role is looking to fill, maybe a thing they're most proud of, and probably a failure that they've had and what they learned from it. This leads to hiring manager feedback saying, whoa, I talked to Becky, and the examples that she gave about her experience that tracked to exactly the problems we're facing, that was inspiring. If she could do that for us, that would be amazing. Let's bring her back to meet the rest of the team. So there you have it. Those are your 6 recruiting storytelling tips you put to use right away. Go forth and be a hero in your companies, telling much better recruiting stories. Good luck on your quest.